My name is Shelli Cody, and I'm a 43-year-old breast cancer survivor from Cleveland, Tennessee. In October of 2002, I felt a lump in my left breast. I didn't have any reason to worry because I had no family history of breast cancer. And I went to see my gynecologist, and she sent me for testing and mammograms. It was my first mammogram, and it turned out to be that it was cancer. And I had mastectomy and followed by some really hard radiation and chemo. They removed 36 lymph nodes and 19 of those were positive. In March of 2003, after I'd finished up with my chemo, I noticed a swelling in my left arm, and I went and showed it to my doctor, and he told me that I had lymphedema. I had no idea what lymphedema was. I had no idea really what lymph nodes was at the time of my surgery, so this was all new to me. I found out what lymphedema was. It's a swelling of an extremity caused by disruption of the lymph nodes to an area. It can occur when lymph nodes are removed or through radiation. Well, after I found out what lymphedema was, I found out the hard way what the treatment was. It is about 4 layers of ace bandages, cotton padding. I had to wrap all the way down to my fingers because my lymphedema was in my hand, and you have to wear that 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, and you have to do a massage that you massage the lymph fluid out of your arm, and that's a daily process too. At the time of all this, I was a bank teller, and I was having to count money with all this garb on my hand. And so I got tired of it. I've got 2 kids, and being a mom, it just got overwhelming to take care of my arm and my family and my job. So I quit doing it after about 3 years. And in the spring of 2004, I got an infection in my arm that turned to strep throughout my entire body. And I had to be on IV antibiotics for a couple of weeks to save my arm and get the strep out of my body. But it worked, and I'm glad of that, but I had to go back through the lymphedema therapy again. From the beginning of this whole ordeal with cancer, I never had any interest in reconstruction surgery. I had made up my mind that I didn't want implants. I didn't want anything fake in my body. And I just made up my mind that I was going to go through the rest of my life without boobs. Well, that all changed in September of 2009. I had went to see my radiation oncologist, Dr. Lisa Verostic, for my yearly checkup. And she had asked me, Shelli, are you still considering not having any kind of reconstruction? And I said, no, still don't want any reconstruction. But she had a patient that had come down here to New Orleans to the Center for Restorative Breast Surgery and had a successful breast reconstruction done and was telling me about it. So I was kind of energized at that point, and I thought, I'm going to go home and check that out on the internet. I'd like to read more about this place in New Orleans. So I got on there, and as soon as I clicked, I seen they had lymphedema treatment. And I thought, well, if I could have reconstruction and lymphedema treatment, I believe that's something I'd be interested in. So I couldn't wait for the next day when I could call down here and get a hold of somebody on the telephone. I had made the call, and after discussing the times and everything with Liz, I scheduled my surgery for January 5th of 2010. I come down here the day before, and I met Dr. Sullivan, and just entering into the center, it is just the most peaceful feeling. I can remember the first thing that I thought whenever I woke up after surgery. I can remember my hands reaching up and feeling if I had boobs, and I did. And then I reached down to my belly, and it was gone, and I just felt like I was in a dream. And then my arm immediately showed signs of improvement, and I've still got the pictures on my phone. I would take my camera and take pictures of my arm and send it home so everybody could see how the swelling in my arm had gone down. And I was just so thankful for all that had happened in my surgery and how well I was doing. I had to stay in New Orleans for 2 weeks after my surgery, and I stayed at the Hope Lodge, and it was all free of charge, and the people were just great over there, and I highly recommend it. And while I was here, I had lymphedema therapy by an on-staff therapist here at the hospital, and it was great too. After I got home, I had to do 8 more weeks of lymphedema therapy. But this time I didn't mind it because I could see results. My arm was going down, and I was just thrilled to death with it. The goal of this surgery was for me to only wear a nighttime garment, and I was able to start doing that in May of 2010. And I don't wear my daytime garment. I just wear the one at night, and I do a massage before I put the nighttime garment on. And my arm is maintaining itself very well. I have had my rings resized to be the size of my other hand, and they were a lot bigger before this surgery. And so I just feel like not only have I got new boobs, but I've got my old arm back. Well, here's how I feel now. I feel like Humpty Dumpty. I feel like all the king's horses and all the king's men has put me back together again, and Dr. Sullivan is the one that did it, and I am just so thankful that I was introduced to this Center for Restorative Breast Surgery, and his staff. They treat me like I'm family when I'm down here, and I think they've picked the very best of New Orleans to work here.